Time now for the big fat idea. Very good place to welcome back to the show the President CEO of TriView Capital, Craig Burrows. Craig, let's just get right to it. What's the big fat idea?
Well, I'm all for paying my fair share of taxes, but as you know, and you talk a lot about on your show about government policies are becoming excessive on what they can literally seize from you. So one way we're looking at reducing your tax is, I know people are using capital gains, that's for the markets of volatility, but we found a way that you can actually increase your returns or reduce your risk and take advantage of these little-known tax credits or tax deductions from federal and provincial governments. And one of the three that we're going to talk about today is VCCs, Venture Capital Corporations.
Okay, gives us an idea of how it works.
So, lucky enough, the Alberta and BC government are seeing how to diversify their economies. And you can diversify your companies, your economies by investing in new tech like biotech, software, and renewable energies. So through these VCC funds, Alberta and BC residents can invest in their own local community, and they get tremendous tax credits for doing it.
Well, give me an example of what, I think we're sort of somewhat aware of these, if your favored, areas you just said, but what is the tax credit? So let's just put you at the highest tax bracket. You're paying 50% in BC. So this is recently, it's been in BC for a while, but this is a recent addition in Alberta. So by using this tax strategy, the first thing you do, let's say you make a $100,000 investment, you get 30% back from provincial tax credit. So that's $30,000. And then what you do is through this new way, you can actually reinvest that investment, that VCC, into an RSP. So you get a further deduction of whether your tax bracket is. So if you're at the 50% tax bracket, you're now at 80%. And then these funds usually provide about a 7% annual targeted fund. So that means in year one, your ROI is 87% of your original money back in year one, investing in these opportunities that can grow the economy. So obviously this is the kind of thing you talk with someone like at a firm like TriView, and other professionals, to get the details. But the bottom line is you get a provincial tax credit, you take the investment and put it in your RSP, which you get a further tax credit for that, which of course reduces the amount of money on the line at that point. And then of course you're hoping the investment does something. As you say, you're seeing like a 7% yield in some of these funds. So the other thing, Craig, though, is, you must get a lot of people talking about tax, period, being a professional. I think every professional certainly experiences that. Who is this kind of for, and how long do they hold it?
Well, so first of all, this is for someone in a high tax bracket, or just in general that you'd rather think that you're actually better spending your own money than government. So I think that's your first kind of philosophy, what you think. But generally, this is for small business owners. This is for people, if you're at the 40% tax bracket, so maybe $100,000 a year, that's still a very high tax. So it's really for people that are looking for ways to avoid the markets because of volatility, and they're looking for an effective tax plan. And so really, it's really for anyone. But really, you have to sit down with a registered advisor that can sit down and figure out what is right for you. But generally, by and large, these VC funds, you have to hold for 5 years. But again, if I can get 87% of my money back in year one, and I'm getting 7% on the remaining 13%, that's a pretty darn good investment, whether you get the upside or not. And again, some of these companies will fail, some will be successful. But the reality is right now, getting my money back into my hands instead of giving to the government.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time, as you say. We just talked about BlackRock, again, looking at private equity. It's something you're very familiar with at TriView, but private equity, you see, in the pension funds, you're seeing more and more activity there over the last several years. As you say, probably not sweating the kind of market we had this past week, but it's a fascinating thing. And as you say, great advice. Talk to a professional like a TriView or other professionals to see if this is right for you. But it's an interesting, big, fat idea. Craig Burrows, thanks so much for finding time to share it with us.
Have a great day.